If you are purchasing elastic goods every day, you are losing millions and millions of stock value bills. Okay, you lot, so today we'll be doing a small video about the Endfield stock market. Now, what I have been doing for the past week is doing a little bit of research on the elastic goods prices. And here's the simple deal. If you are purchasing elastic goods every day, you are losing millions and millions of stock value bills. Now, if this does scare you, let me explain what I mean, and I'll showcase you the best way on average on how to make the most amount of stock value bills, because just purchasing the lowest price every day and selling it for the highest price on your friend's market every day is actually not the best way to make a lot of stock value bills. So yeah, without further ado, let me explain how all of this works. Thank you for coming to the interview. Please introduce yourself. Hello, I am Farmita, and I bought a gacha pack at full price. So tell us, how did your life change after this event? Well, it all started when I went to my kitchen and I realized that I pretty much had to eat bread for the remaining of the week. In fact, the other day I went to the store and they wouldn't even let me in. They thought I was there for a job interview. Looking back on it, is there anything you would have done differently? Well, I suppose one big thing I would change to would be to purchase all gacha packs from TopUpLive, today's sponsor of the video. So TopUpLive offers amazing deals for plenty of gacha games at your disposal. You can buy various Endfield items for much cheaper prices than the in-game store, to save you hundreds of dollars easily. And if Endfield is not your choice, there are plenty of titles for you to find. The platform is safe and reliable, and in case you run into any issues, they offer 24/7 customer support. On top of that, if you use the code FARMITA, make sure that it is all in lowercase at checkout, you will also save an additional 12% off. Make sure to click the link in the description and try it out for yourself. Okay, so for the most part, by now, I'm pretty sure every single player who has been playing at least for a few days knows how the elastic goods market works. You essentially have a lot of goods in both the Valley region as well as the Wooling region. And essentially, as you can see, each product has a certain price attached. Now, 2000 is the default price for each of the items. And then every day, the price will go either lower or above the 2000. Of course, sometimes it can be 2000, but that's the average. You'd never want to buy it for 2000 in general. And essentially, how this works is your prices will fluctuate every day, and also all of your friends will have a different price every day. So for the most part, the easy way to do a lot of profit is to just pick the lowest priced item on your side. In my case, it would be the scrap toy blocks today, which cost 1135, which again isn't actually that low of a price, and sell it to the highest friend, which would be 5394. That way I would be making around 4000 profit. Now, the thing with this is, right, while this is the best strategy to make money, the problem with this is that sometimes you're actually able to either sell much higher or you're able to purchase the goods yourself for much lower, which means that you would potentially be earning even more profit. I would say the maximum you can get on average is usually gonna be like 4.5 to 5,000 profit per day if you do it correctly, right? The way it works, right, is since you are able to see the history, you can check the prices that happened today as well as the 6 days before that. You can do this for both yourself and your friends, right? The problem is you cannot see the prices in the future, right? So while I know what the prices are today, not only for myself, but also for all of my friends, so I can determine the profit that I can get today, the maximum profit specifically. I do not know what will happen tomorrow, right? And because you are not refreshing all of your goods every day, as you can see in total, you can hold a 960 goods in Valley region, and I think it's around 100 in the Wooling region. but you only get plus 320 per day in the valley region and plus 50 in the wooling region. So it actually takes 2 days for the wooling region and 3 days for the valley region to fully fill up the storage that you get, right? So technically, you don't have to purchase the goods every day, and it's actually a pretty bad way to purchase every day. And let me explain how I determined that. So here's the deal. Over the past week, I actually have been doing research. Now, not the past week, but what I mean is from the previous week's Monday until the previous week's Sunday, right? So for the whole week, what I have done is I have picked the prices for a product and wrote them down for the prices that happened on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Essentially the whole week, just to see how those prices progressed. On top of that, I did it for 4 different items, which I chose fully randomly. So the kitchenware, the scrimshaw dangles, Unity soup, and we have the Wuxia movies, which is an item from the wooling region, just to give it a bit more variety, right? On top of that, not only did I do that, but I also did all of this for all 100 of my friends, right? I did this for all 100 of my friends just to have a much bigger data sample, and I came up to a very interesting conclusion when it comes to prices, right? So let me explain what I was able to find. And first of all, before you look at this data, let me preface this by saying that while in most cases you will only want to purchase from a single person every day because the stock that you can buy is infinite, so, or rather not your friends but yourself. So technically you could buy the lowest price that you have on that day and then sell to the highest friend that is available for the price on that day. For this data, we are mostly gonna be looking at averages, which means that it gives us a better overview of what the average price could be for a certain graph, which means that not just checking the lowest price that is available, but the overall trend of how prices work. Because with just a single lowest price, there is a lot of variety which will not conclude the exact info we are looking for. Overall, looking at averages of a certain group of people will allow us to better determine how the prices move. And my goal with this video is not just to showcase you what is the best day, but overall how the prices move, right? So if we look at the numbers on the 6th and the 7th line here, which I just marked, essentially one of them are colored in red and the other ones are colored in green. What this means is this showcases the lowest price for that item from any of my friends, and in the green mark we are showcasing the highest price from all the friends. So keep in mind, this is not just my prices. My prices are listed right here, as you can see, and they will not always be the lowest or the highest. Again, the reason I'm doing this is because we're trying to look at the overall price trend of the items, and I want to make sure to have as many data variables as possible. So instead of just measuring my items, I've measured 4 different items from 100 different people. That way we'll be able to have a much bigger data sample. And in the red lines, what we can see is the lowest price for this item on every single day. So as you can see, on Monday, the lowest price for any of my friends was $8.47, on Tuesday 6.18, Wednesday 8.11, and so on until we get to Sunday, which is $5.75. As you can see, I did the same thing for all 4 items, right? And I also did the highest. So the highest price from all of the friends in here would be $35.28 on Monday, $37.86 on Tuesday, and so on all the way until Sunday, where the prices at the highest point was $46.07. And as you can see, the same thing for all of the items right here, right? Remember, these are just random items that I picked. I didn't pick them on prices or anything like that. I wanted to fully have a random amount of prices on a random product just to see how they progress, right? Next up, now this, I'm not sure if you have noticed while buying a lot of items, you may have had a hunch for it, especially if you are going on a weekly reset. But let's look at the data just below this. Now in here, what we see is a few more data points as well as a lovely little chart showcase here. Don't worry, I'll showcase all 4 of them in just a moment. But here's the deal. This is what the specific numbers mean. So if we have all of these numbers, right? So essentially we have all of these prices for all of my friends on every single day of the week for the specific item, as well as for all of the items right here. As you can see, lots of numbers. You will see a few gaps here and there. The reason for that is that specific friend didn't have this item unlocked. So as you can see, for the first 2 items, for the most part, all of them had it. For the later 2, there were a few of them that didn't have it, so mostly seen for the wooling items. But even then, as you can see, majority of the friends did have the item unlocked. So we still have a very, very big sample size for these items, right? Now here is what the graph means. So in the blue part, this showcases not just the highest priced item from all of my friends, but the average price of the top 10% of the prices. What it means is it takes all of the prices that we had on Monday and looks for the highest 10% of the players and then averages out that price. What this does is, while it doesn't showcase the highest price that is possible, it does showcase us a much better overall trend of how the prices moves. Because here's the deal. It could be that 99% of the prices are super low and there's one super high price, and then it would technically incorrectly show the overall trend. So the reason we're doing this, the reason we're doing averages, is we want to make sure to equalize the perspective of the prices. Because again, like, this is the reason why in the real world you usually do stuff like the average wage or the minimum wage, right? Because here's the deal. There is a person who might be earning billions, and then if there is one other person who is earning like $100 per day, whereas another person is earning $1 billion per day, the average would be like what, 500 million or so, right? And I mean, that is not the situation. So the reason why we're doing a much bigger sample, just to see a better overall trend. So for the top 10% of the prices for this item over each day, as you can see, the prices for the most part are gonna be way lower towards the start of the week and much higher towards the end of the week. The same thing if we take even a bigger sample. So if we take the top 20%, naturally top 20% is gonna be lower than the top 10% because we are accounting for an additional 10% of lower prices. So as you can see, even then on Monday, the average price of the top 20% was 2,761, whereas on Sunday it was actually up to 4,000. And as you can see, if we look at the graph, the overall trend is that the prices are going to be the lowest on Monday and slowly trend towards much higher ones on Sunday. The same thing if we look at the bottom 10% and 20%. So the bottom 20% of the prices, so essentially 20% of the lowest prices that recorded. On Monday, that lowest price was essentially 1,388, whereas the lowest 20% on Sunday was just 907. This is the reason we're doing bottom is because we also want to measure the average price that we will be looking to buy our products at, right? So as you can see, the bottom 10% and 20%, if we look at the chart, it trends at a much lower rate than the top prices. However, they still show a clear lowering from the start of the week towards the end of the week. As you can see, if we take the average prices on Monday, right? For the top 10 and 20% on each Monday, you will not see a price that is higher than 3,500. Just a few of them even are going above 3,000. Whereas on Sunday, if we look at the prices, you will not see a price that is lower than 3,500, and this is taking top 20% of the average prices. So if you look at all of the graphs showcased, even if I zoom out a bit, you can see a clear trend that the prices for pretty much all of the stock valley items or elastic goods, whatever you want to call them, on Monday, the prices will be the highest for buying and will be the lowest for selling, which means that you are buying at the highest prices possible and you're selling at the lowest prices possible, making the profit much, much lower than if you were selling on Sunday or just in generally towards the end of the week. As you can see, there are some outliers. For example, the Friday had good prices. Saturday had a bit worse prices, but still miles above the prices that we have on Monday. And on Sunday, the prices were good again. So while it doesn't technically showcase the exact trend on day-to-day prices, you can clearly sense the trend that on Monday and just generally towards the start of the week, it is simply not worth purchasing items and it is not worth selling items. Now, the problem is we only have a certain amount of storage of items. So in Valley, we are essentially able to save up for 3 days. And in Wooling, we're able to save up for 2 days, right? So the overall best way to purchase and sell your elastic goods will be the following. So for Valley items, what you want to do in order to get the best average value and just to have a highest chance of having the best prices, instead of buying every day or just buying on a random day, that is not gonna be the most efficient way, because I calculated just the average prices, and if you are simply buying every day compared to this method, you will be losing a couple of million stock Valley bills every week for both regions. So yeah, the difference is relatively significant if you are not doing an optimized route. So for Valley, the ideal purchasing pattern to guarantee the best prices on average will be to save your purchases and selling on Monday, save them on Tuesday, then on Wednesday through Saturday, you only want to buy 320 items, just so you have enough storage for the next day of goods to fill up. And then on Sunday, you by far have the highest chance to get the best prices, at which you should spend all 960 goods that you have. Now, here's the deal. If you see an amazing price, let's say on Friday, on Saturday, by all accounts, go for it, right? Because even then, even on Friday and Saturday, the prices, as you can see, will be much better, both for buying and for selling, right? This, again, as I mentioned, we're taking a big data sample, and this just showcases the average trend of the prices. And based on the average trend, this is the best purchasing pattern. For Wooling, because we only have 2 days until the stock fully fills up. So on Mondays, you want to save your purchases and your selling. Then on Tuesday to Saturday, you want to purchase 50 goods. Keep in mind that when it comes to saving, for selling, you don't want to sell anything until Sunday if possible, right? This gives you the highest chance to get best prices. This chart is just for buying stock, right? So on Wooling, Monday you save, Tuesday to Saturday you buy 50 just to refresh the limit, and on Sunday you want to buy out the remaining 100 and look into selling most of your stock Valley bills or elastic goods. I always confuse them. But yeah, this is just the overall trend, just to give you an overview of the graph again. As you can see, very, very clear example for all 4 items. Purchasing prices very high on Monday and towards the lower part of the rest of the week, as you can see, again, in the thousands towards Monday, and then below 1,000 for pretty much every Sunday that you see. And then the buying prices, the actual price that you can sell a good for at your friend's store. As you can see, again, the lowest on Monday, which is why you don't want to be selling on Mondays for the most part, and trending much, much higher towards the end of the week. So yeah, a week-long research pretty much concluded that the prices reset on a weekly basis. They are by far the lowest on Monday, and they will be by far the highest towards the end of the week, at which you should be looking into selling all of the items that you have saved up. So yeah, that's about it. Hope you enjoyed. If you found this helpful, feel free to leave a like. Make sure to leave a comment if you have some sort of a notice that you want to share as well, because the reason I did this is because I simply just noticed over the last few weeks that I've been playing that on Monday the prices were mostly like closer towards the 2000 mark, and eventually I got around to doing this a little bit of data gathering, right? And yeah, very much showcased what I have been suspecting, that towards the start of the week the prices are much have a much lower gap, and towards the end of the week it is much better to both buy the items and sell them for profit. So yeah, that's about it, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.